a random person I met online invited me to a local game shop to play Star Wars Unlimited. If you're not sure what it is, it's a card game, think Magic the Gathering, but Star Wars and not as neckbeardy. If you know, you know. It's a card game by Fantasy Flight. You have like a leader and a battlefield, and you make a deck of cards. You can put bounties on other cards, and the cool thing about it is, unlike most other card games, so like if you know Magic the Gathering or anything like that, you know, you have a card to play and a resource. Star Wars Unlimited, what they did, they were like, hey, we could do the resource thing, but what if every card in your deck can be a resource? So what they do is that, like, say you have 5 cards in your hand and 3 of them you're like, I can't use these, like they're for a play that I don't have set up or whatever. So what you can do is place them face down in your resource pile, and they now count as one resource. It's really hard to craft a bad deck, because if you have just some random cards, you're like, I don't know what to do with this, okay, play it as a resource, and then you're like, man, I really want to play that card and not have a resource have it as a resource anymore. You can then like pay the cost of the card to get it out of your resource pile. It makes more sense, you know. I'm sure Carly put like I don't know, a diagram or a stick figure drawing or something. I don't know. Carly's my editor. Anyway, what's cool about Star Wars Unlimited is instead of just like an area where you place your monsters and fight each other, you have land and you have space, and so you are fighting on both the space and the land, and they can't like cross over, but it's a really interesting like strategy. And like, you know, you can decide if you don't bring enough space units to play, then your opponent does, they could just start hammering away at your base. But anyway, I haven't like fully played it with people. I went kind of crazy and bought like a bunch of cards. I fully am aware that I'm a female in going into a mostly male-dominated space with a strange person I've never met off the internet. Granted, it is a public location, but like he knows, I guess, some of the people and everything, so like, and I don't, so I'm going in blind. And yes, like safety, blah blah blah. So Carly, again, everybody say hi to Carly. She's my wonderful editor, and you're going to be seeing a lot of her. Carly, if I get murdered, make sure that I at least look good, and the video gets uploaded, okay? I mean, I should be fine, right? Like, I mean, I was in the Army. Like, I have to sit here sometimes and remind myself, like, Erica, like, you were deployed, you were in the Army, you're combat medic, you were with recon, like, you shot things and picked up heavy things and ran places and did the whole thing. Yeah, I don't think I'm scared.
Later that same evening.
Alright guys, so as you can tell, I didn't die. I didn't realize they were waiting for me to do a tournament. I didn't even have like, again, this is a card game. This is like Magic the Gathering kind of thing. I just brought all my freaking cards, which I have like a couple hundred. I don't have a deck, Bill. I don't even know how it works. I was showing up so they could teach me. So I get there and I find out like they're waiting for me, and so we start and they're like, oh yeah, you're up. And I'm like, okay, cool. And I walk over to the counter and buy one of the starter decks that I already have somewhere. Like, I was just panicking. There was like 4 dudes that I've never met before that have like, you know, their custom deck, and they have like card sleeves, and like they have all these tokens, and I'm like, alright guys, I showed up with my backpack and like a shoebox full of cards, and I'm like shaking, which is stupid. Like, it's so stupid. Like, I taught college, like I taught emergency medicine in college. I was an NCO in the Army. I was a sergeant. Like, I don't get scared in front of people, but for some reason I was out of my element, which was weird. But anyway, I pull out like the starting deck, and we had 5 people, so I was playing first, and it was like best of 3. The person who wasn't playing came over. He's like,
yeah, I'm gonna come over here and just basically like tell you what to do.
And I was like, okay, cool, thanks. I had to pull out like a little note card of like all this stuff, which thankfully, like, the starter kit does give you like this nice layout of like the actions you can do, how the turn goes, and it took probably like halfway through the first game for me to pick it up. The games go quick when you know what you're doing. My first game took probably like 20 minutes. I lost. So you start the game out with, you draw 6 cards, and 2 of those cards you choose and put them face down, and they are now your first 2 resources, and you can't use them. Some cards have special abilities, but like in general, these are cards you're not going to use. And not knowing the cards, I was like, okay, I drew like Emperor Palpatine and like a really cool ship and like 2 things that had like a lot of words. So I just got rid of the 2 things with a lot of words. And then you play an action. So your action can be playing a card, or attacking, or doing an action on a card, or you could claim like initiative. Once you claim initiative, your turn's done, and then once both people have passed, then you like reset, and so everything that was exhausted goes back exhausted. So like in Magic, you have the card going horizontal and then you go vertical. All your resources that you used go back, they're retapped, and then you draw 2 more cards, and you choose 1 card out of your hand. It doesn't have to be the 2 that you drew, just 1 card out of your hand, and you place it down as a resource. So you keep building resource. When you get to a certain number, you play your leader. Your leader, they're the fancy ones. Carly, put a really cool image of a leader. And like these guys are super powerful, and they, in the beginning of the game, they're in the center. But when you have enough, like I had Darth Vader, so when I got 7 resources, he automatically activated. So he was onto the field face up, and he now was this full force, like 7 health, or 7 attack, 6 health, something like that. I'm not sure. So I had to get basically 7 turns to get him. So it was kind of a late game thing. And I didn't realize, like, other heroes have, like, you only need 4 resources or whatever. So on the surface, it was really easy to get into, but it was very nuanced. Like, there's a lot of nuances. I lost my first game pretty bad. But the second game, it was against the same person. It's best 2 out of 3. We were picking up a little bit faster, and I won somehow. I think just because his hand, he was relying on, like, upgrades and weapons and stuff. And I just drew lucky and he didn't. Like, I'm gonna be honest, I'm not a meta. Like, I know people know the perfect decks, and there'll be people in the comments that are like, you should have done this, or blah blah blah. I'm gonna make a deck later, and it's gonna be like, I like the Mandalorians, and I'm gonna put all of them in the deck. It may not make sense, but makes sense in my brain. But no, so we played, and they were really nice people. I didn't get murdered. I didn't feel uncomfortable, which was cool. The gaming place, if there are any like female gamers out there, I know I was a little uncomfortable going to some of these gaming stores by myself, because a lot of times, if you're not with a group of friends, and you're alone, like, I feel like if you're a dude, that's kind of okay, because it's like, culturally, in the US, that's kind of what you do. As a dude, you're like, oh, you play video games, all this stuff. It's starting to be more culturally accepted now as a girl. But being alone in that kind of environment, you have people that are socially awkward to begin with, and then they want to just talk to you. Like, I'm not one of those, like, oh my god, they just want to hit on me. No, I think people just want to, like, talk to you, and like, oh, you look uncomfortable, or oh, you're alone, I'm alone too, let's be friends. It was really cool, and there were other people playing like Magic there, and there were like people playing like D&D, and it was cool because when I wasn't playing anymore, I got to like walk around, and the group of dudes there, they came over and they were like, hey, let's look at your cards and help you build a deck. I'm like, cool. And they realized, they're like, oh, hon, like, do you know what's important and what's not? I'm like, no. Y'all, like, some of these cards are freaking expensive. Like, some of these cards can be like $700-800. And this is a new game that came out like in March. They were all curious what I had, and they were like, oh, you have legendaries that you didn't put in, or rares. So I was kind of learning that, and learning like there are different colors, and like what the colors mean, and it's not like, you can kind of make whatever kind of deck you want, but there is a penalty to it, but like, you can still do it. I feel like it has a lot more freedom than Magic, and it's more forgiving than Magic, and I think the barrier to entry is easier, because I love Star Wars. I'm gonna actually record some Star Wars after this. So I like knew the characters, or like, you know, I wasn't doing well, but I would like play a card and make a joke. Like, you know, I played Darth Vader, and then I played his lightsaber on him, and you know, the guy that I was playing against, he's like, yeah, that was kind of a waste. I'm gonna kill Darth Vader this turn anyway. And I'm like, but why would you separate him from his emotional support stick, like his lightsaber? You know, just trying to be funny, like, but no. I guess what I'm saying and rambling is, it was a lot of fun. And if you find yourself like me sometimes, where you play online games or whatever, and you talk to people, we don't like interact face to face a lot of times. I mean, my family's living with my parents for a little bit, till my health gets better. Cancer stuff, I won't go into it, but yeah, like, you know, I interact with them, but it's not the same. My dog, I think she's still there. Yeah, she's hidden. You know, it was nice to go and be around people, and even though I didn't know what I was doing, and I was awful, I came last place in the tournament, like, I had fun. I think it cost me like $6 to play. I could have spent that on YouTube and like takeout, and I don't think I would have had as much fun. So this is me telling you, go try something new. I did. I didn't get murdered yet.